What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters Live. I'm David Wilson, and we're back again with another Friday stream where we get together as a community and talk about whatever topic I've come up with at the last minute, as usual. I promise I tried to come up with a different topic for today, but it didn't really work out, so I had to make a last-minute call, and here we are. But I think it would be fun anyway, because it would give us a chance to catch up on some things that have been happening in the Emacs ecosystem for a little while now, and see if there's something worth trying or doing, or at least feeling good about, or bad about. I don't know. It really just depends on what we find. So I can't really make any promises about the quality of the things we're gonna find here, but we're gonna do our best, okay? We're all here. It's Friday. Maybe it's Friday morning for some of you. It's Friday evening for me. At least it's Friday. So we'll all just have a good time, and we'll see how it goes, all right? Let me say hello to the folks who are here so far. I'll say hello to Russell over on the YouTube side, because Russell is asking me, how's fishing this time of year? I wouldn't know, because I'm not a fisherman. Except I did say on the last stream that I got a new job as a fisherman on a fishing vessel here in Greece, which was a lie, but it was funny, so I had to say it. So yes, Russell, no fishing. I don't know how fishing is this time of year. I know that we've had trouble buying some fish every now and then, but that's not my problem. So the only problem I have is not having the fish that I want to buy to eat. Other than that, I don't know what the problems with fishing would be. Hello to Enrico. Also over on the IRC side, for all the real nerds, we've got Fade, Glenneth, TD Back, Cow, Gun, Alternate Ved, Luis, excuse me, Niklaus. Let's see, who else? I see Eric joining. Big Edie. Is the overlay dead? Is the chat not showing up? Let me refresh one more time. I don't know what's going on there. Something showed up. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with me and make me think my stream is broken. I'm just kidding. You can mess with me. It's fine. Peter says, you should have I'm Not a Fisherman merch. That's actually a brilliant idea. What percentage do you need for offering that idea? Because it's a great idea. Glenn said he just call us nerds. I'm in the IRC too, okay? So I include myself with that designation. So don't worry. I'm also a nerd. I'm the one who every week for the past almost 5 years have been streaming about Emacs and Geeks, for God's sake. So I'm the biggest nerd out of all the nerds, you know? We just have to learn to live with that. It's the way it is. I've accepted my fate as the uber nerd fisherman. Please showcase IGC. What is that? Gunn says, David down by the Mediterranean pier bashing squids. That doesn't sound like a nice thing to do. Sounds kind of like an illegal activity. I don't really think I like that. So let's see, who else we have in the chat here? Fate says Summer would love it. Which part? Eric says Fishbone Crafters. Oh, IGC. Okay, I'll take a look at that. I'm not sure what that is. Glenn says, I'm watching the stream in my System Crafters t-shirt. Good, Glenn. Good. Alternate Veds, give me another link. There's a person named Trove. Treve? What did we say it was last time? Treve? Anyway, they're begging for a hello, like a little scamp on the side of the street in Victorian era, you know? Please, sir, may I have a hello? That's my worst old British accent that I could possibly muster. Sorry. I hope I didn't offend anyone with my terrible attempt at an impression. Any fisherman merch would cause Summer to sweet. Well, you know. Please, sir, more hellos. Awful. Don't clip that. So, she probably would. summers in the fashion industry, maybe she can actually make those things popular. And then next year, you're going to see all the cool kids wearing "I'm not a fisherman" shirts, and nobody will have any idea what it means, except for the fact that it got popularized by an overly excited person who is very good at convincing people to do things. Glenn says, as a Brit, that was terrible. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you for bringing me back down to earth. I appreciate you. Trev says, Treve says, $200 a shirt, probably. Well, it'd have to be. What would you do with those fishes? I don't know. Wow, how would I know? All I know how to do is just eat what's given to me in terms of fish. I don't know anything else about a fish. I don't know how to skin a fish, you know? I don't know how to catch a fish. I mean, maybe I've done it once or twice in my life whenever I was a kid. I don't know anything about fish. I don't know why we keep talking about fish on this channel, except for the fact that I brought it up first. Or actually, no, Russell is the one who brought it up first today. So Russell is the one who takes the blame for the derailing towards fisherman talk once again. Niklaus says, as a purveyor of high-quality dad jokes, that impression was acceptable. I hope it was enough to make somebody laugh. That's really the whole point here, is just to make people laugh at my poor attempts at trying to make people laugh. It's fine. Hey, Jeff. Nice to see you, man. Okay, so news. Hello to Max TV. Russell says, I feel like only a fisherman would know it's illegal. I don't know, it just sounds illegal. Beating up squids sounds illegal. I don't know. I would say clubbing any type of animal sounds illegal to me. TD Back says, you could build a mini game inside Emacs where you press space to catch fish. You know, that's actually a good idea too. Man, everybody's giving me good ideas today. Why am I not coming up with any good ideas? Everybody else is coming here and just handing me excellent ideas, and I have none. Bashing fish? Well, I don't know about that, but maybe just to stick with the meme, it could be bashing fish. Since it's inside of a simulation, when it's only going to be text characters floating across the screen, you can't really say it's realistic violence. It's just sort of like, you know, a backslash smacking an asterisk or something. You know, nobody's going to get too offended by that, but maybe it's just the idea, the concept of it. Big Edie says, this is why I take time off work, dude, to hear about the exploits of David Will, the fisherman. Yeah, I'm sure you do. Trev says, David Will took 6 hours to configure IPv6 on a router today. No, I didn't take 6 hours. I just finally decided to search whether my Wi-Fi mesh system has a setting for it, because TrevDev, not Treve, the other Trev, who I will call TrevDev, figured it out first. I've been having trouble trying to get to the non-geek substitute server like all week. A couple days ago, I realized that I can't actually like do anything, or I could do stuff in Geeks. Like I could try to like install programs and whatnot, or apply configurations, but anytime it tries to contact the substitutes.nongeeks.org server, it times out. So it just sits there in a loop trying to ping the server. Turns out they turned off IPv4 access to the non-geek substitute server. Somebody said it's something about like abuse somehow. Maybe they were being spammed on IPv4 connections. I don't know. I don't know what the true explanation is, but for those of you who are using Geeks with the non-Geeks channel and using non-Geek substitutes right now, which is probably a lot of you who don't want to spend an hour compiling the Linux kernel every time you update your system. If you have had trouble accessing that server, it's probably because you don't have a valid IPv6 address to contact the substitute server. And I didn't realize I didn't have one until right now when I tried to contact the substitute server and I got rejected repeatedly. So this week I was kind of scratching my head, like, how is this even possible? Like, I don't think I have anything set up in Geeks to turn off IPv6. Then I go to my actual ISP router admin page, and I see there it has an IPv6 address. So what the hell is going on? Turns out there's a separate setting in my mesh Wi-Fi adapter, which is connected up to the router. You have to turn that on to get IPv6 addresses. So now I have one, but it's still not working. I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but I still have the same problem. Peter says, I looked at IPv6 this week and recoiled in horror. You'll have to tell us more about why. All right. Fade says, that's seriously insane. I can't even route IPv6 traffic. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they shut it off totally. I don't know why they would do that, because I would imagine most well, okay, I would say a large majority of people probably are having this issue right now. And TrevDev, not Treve, TrevDev was the one who filed an issue and got a response back on the 9Geeks repo. So if I go to the 9Geeks repo in GitLab, if you go to the issues page, which I'm just going to take a little aside right now and say I hate the GitLab UI. It's so stupid. I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult anybody who worked on it, but like having to go into plan to get to the issues list is really weird to me. That's just my rant for the day, mini rant. Go to the closed issues, because it closed it already, and look at cannot reach substitutes.9geeks.org. So Jonathan Brielmayer, who is one of the maintainers of 9Geeks, says currently IPv4 is not working for substitutes, only IPv6. I can not certainly say when it would be working again. It could be that wherever they have that hosted, something went wrong and IPv4 is not active anymore. Who knows? But all we know is that you cannot contact the substitute server through IPv4 anymore. All right? Treve says, let's keep in mind that TrevDev ignored me when I told him this 3 times. Is that how you say that you're back on top? You're top Trev again? Is that you told him 3 times and he ignored you? Okay. Cool. What did Trev say that's a euphemism? Is that a euphemism? Checking out fish shell from a fishing boat in Greece. Well, you know, that would actually be a pretty funny RL stream, real life stream, whatever they call those. I'll just be on a little fishing boat, checking out fish shell, doing other fishy things. I don't know what else would be fishy inside of a computer, but aside from like, you know, downloading software from SourceForge, I think that would be a kind of fishy behavior because you never know what kind of malware you're going to get downloading software from SourceForge. I'll probably upset somebody by saying that too, but that's okay. Totally a euphemism, okay? Peter says the local addresses are confusing. Routing is weird. Yeah, the local address thing I didn't know about until something I looked at says there's like 3 prefixes on IPv6 that tell you that it's a local address, and I actually have one of those on my network adapter, so I don't know what that means. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. That one's not so bad, Gun. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. It says, I've had several forays into IPv6 over the past decade, and each time it's still not ready. Well, I wouldn't know. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with problems like this because I stay away from the horrors of networking, computer networking on a professional level, because to me, it just sounds like a nightmare. I would like to stay in the computer on the same machine. So let's not do any networking. Let's just do everything in programs on the same machine. It's much safer that way. You don't have to worry about nothing, okay? Just worry about running out of memory and CPU. That's it, okay? I like it better that way. All right, I've wagged my jaw enough now. I think it's time to move on. So, the Spring Lisp Game Jam finished. I think that Monday was the last day, right? Am I wrong about that? So, I've been talking about it forever. We did some streams for the Lisp Game Jam. I didn't finish my entry. We did a lot of, work on it, but it still wasn't quite there enough, and it wasn't deployed to a place where somebody could actually play it. So I figured it wasn't really a wise idea to try to submit it. But a lot of other people did. There were 26 entries, it says, and 14 of them that you can actually play in the browser. So you should go check out the entries for the Spring Lisp Game Jam. There's a few different cool things. There's a game called Macro Night by Gene that I thought was kind of cool when I saw it mentioned on Fediverse. I don't really want to try to play these right now because we'll just get stuck here. Someone wrote something in Janet, which is really cool. Let's see. Alex always makes really good stuff. His games are often top notch. He seems to like doing a lot of things with hex tiles as well, which I think is cool because you don't really see hex tiles very often in games these days. Who else do I see that I recognize in the list? Nebunez worked on something. That's cool. I didn't know that he worked on one. Screw Tape of Lispy Gopher Show fame also worked on something which looks kind of insane. Is this like a Klim application? What is this? Oh, it's a Moo? I got no idea what this is. But you should check it out anyway. Let's see, what else? Class 6 goes to hell. That sounds interesting. Technomancy did some kind of space shooter game, it seems. Was it like a Pico something? Pico, what is it called? Pico. Pico 8. Anyway, that might be cool to check out. Yeah. Anybody else I recognize here? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, Arn made one? Wow. Cool. Arn made a game. I'm not sure what is going on in these pictures, but you should check it out. Okay, so the one that I do want to point out specifically, Kakafar game, where is it? It's not in the list. Did you submit, Cal? Oh, it's here. There's the game by Cal 2001 as well, which is nice. Is this only on Linux? Amazing lore, someone said. Interesting. Looks like an old school Asteroids game. See, this image doesn't really tell me anything about what happens. Okay, we're gonna run this. Ooh, how about that? All right, what are we doing? Are we just running away from this guy? So this is Cal 2001's game that he wrote in Hoot, which is a scheme to WebAssembly compiler. I'm just running away. Oh, what's the mouse do? I shoot? Oh, we can shoot people. Or people, they're red boxes, but you know. Probably I shouldn't say people, okay? We're shooting unnamed assailants. And I guess I won. Is that how it works? Anyway, you should go check out the code for that game. This is not off to a good start, okay? Also, don't clip that. Or I might get a call from the FBI. David sees everyone as a red box. Yeah, if you bother me, you're a red box. Read the lore. I don't know if I want to read the lore because I'll probably just get lost in the lore. Anyway, I wanted to show Goblinville by Dave Thompson. I think another person from Sprightly may have helped. Dave's not here, so he can't tell me. But if anybody else is on the page for this, the lore is top quality. Is that going to be like a copy pasta now for everything? The lore is top quality. So at the end of the stream, leave a comment on the stream saying the lore is top quality. I want everybody to leave a comment saying that the lore is top quality, just to confuse the hell out of anybody who comes by this stream recording. Julie helped. Thank you, Dave. I knew I had seen commits by someone else, so Julie also helped on the game here. So I don't know if the server is working, or yeah, the server technically. I don't know if the game is working. It was working before because I played this with Dave the day that he posted it, because he posted about it on Fossidon, or on not Fossidon, the Fediverse, and so I've already registered. I'm going to use my other name, my government name, David Will, and join. Let's see. Is it going to work? It's loading. All right. So look, it's like a little, what do you call it? Oh, there's Dave right now. It's like a little, what do you call it? Harvest Moon type game, or like Stardew Valley. My goodness, I can't speak. Server's up to register a new account. Great. So anyway, I'm just running in circles around Dave right now, but it actually does work. If you press enter, hello, then it will say it over your head. And you can definitely run around in the world, and other people will be running around too. See, there's Dave moving around right now. And this is all happening in Hoot with Sprightly Goblins, which is pretty cool, which means that the connection between, it's like a bad Animal Crossing. Thank you. You reminded me the proper name of what I was looking for. Anyway, it's like peer-to-peer connection between everybody in the game, I think, right? Because there's like a rendezvous with the server for people to establish a session, but I think after that, is it peer-to-peer, or am I thinking about that wrong? Either way, Trevor Emacs is here. I'm just going to step on him. I don't know which Trevor we're talking about here, but hello, Treve. And we're just going to run around a little bit. See, this is a multiplayer game, so you can do these things in Hoot with Sprightly Goblins right now, okay? So you should use that as a motivation to go and try this stuff out, because it works. You can see I've got a full screen game playing here, being rendered with a tile map and everything. You should go check out the code that Dave wrote for this, because it's kind of crazy how he modeled the whole tile map behavior using goblins. I mean, there's sort of like non-goblins and goblins code at the same time. Your arrows aren't working. Never mind, I was doing WSAD. Yeah, you're a real gamer, Trev. Brussels cow. Is that a Brussels cow? What are we talking about? Game Jam quality. But dude, it works, okay? We're seeing people running on the screen right now, which is great. So obviously, as a tech demo, how do I shoot red box people? This is not that kind of game, okay? You're supposed to be planting pumpkins and like radishes and stuff, not shooting red boxes. We'll let Cal write these kind of games from now on, okay? Cal is the one that's going to be doing that, and then we'll let Dave do the more chill farming simulator style games, and then I'll do all the failed cyberpunk games, okay? Anywho, I just wanted to show that off because I thought it was pretty impressive how that it actually does work, and you can see how things are progressing with the whole technology stack that's being developed over at Sprightly. Sprightly says, "I wish we had." Did he say, "I wish we had a fishing minigame"? That would have been pretty funny, actually. If you had a fishing minigame right now, I could actually say that I'm fishing on stream, but you know, that's a missed opportunity. But I didn't think about it until now, and neither did you, I guess. So it's all good. So anywho, kudos to Dave and Julie over at Sprightly, and to everybody else who works on stuff at Sprightly, because clearly it works. It's pretty awesome, right? Okay, let me get out of that. So check out the submissions to the Spring Lisp Game Jam. Go vote if you were one of the participants in the jam. And maybe next time I'll be more successful in submitting something. Last time I did pretty good, though. Okay, Lambda Dungeon turned out pretty good, but this time not so much, right? I'm okay with that. I can live with it. Okay, so what I want to do this time around, Farmville takes a serious part of wifey budget. Are people still playing Farmville? Does that still exist? Trev says, still in the current year, in the year of our Lord. Are people playing Farmville? That's like 20 years ago, isn't it? At least. Didn't they like get shut down for scamming people? Am I wrong about that? Oslo says, Geeks consensus document. Oh, did someone mention that? Oh, that's a good news post, though. Let me pull that up. So, let me... Fosstodon.org. I know there was a whole lot of drama around Fosstodon recently. I don't have anything to say about that because I haven't really been paying attention to it. I just know it happened. So, yes, I'm still using Fosstodon at the moment because I haven't taken the time to actually migrate anywhere else. So, look. This is some news that I've mentioned before, but it's actually progressing. The Geeks project will be migrating all its repositories along with bug tracking and patch tracking to Codeberg within a month. They say that on May 11th. So that's basically like halfway over now. We're almost at the point where Geeks development will be on Codeberg. And if you've ever tried to contribute to Geeks before, and you don't like the email-driven patch workflow, you should be jumping for joy right now because this would actually make things a lot easier for everyone to contribute. I'm not answering the question, Russell. You can go look it up if you want to. I don't want to get in. I don't like getting into drama stuff here. So, Geeks is almost finished moving all development to Codeberg. All right, so obviously, that's pretty straightforward. They're moving development, all the issue tracking patches and everything to Codeberg. So what does that mean for you, the user? Well, it doesn't mean a whole lot. It does mean that the URL that you use for your main Geeks channel inside your configuration will have to change to the Codeberg URL. And currently, the repository for that is codeberg.org/geeks/geeks-mirror. I don't know if that will change. But at least for right now, that's the URL that you would put into your channels.scm file if you customize that at all. I've read that once you do a pull to the latest Geeks, that it will override that somehow in your configuration. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but if nothing else, the old repository link will redirect to this one for a while, so you'll have a chance to move over. So as a user of Geeks, this should not really impact you very much, so long as Codeberg doesn't go down. But also, as Peter points out, Savannah goes down too, so we're not really safe from outages on either front. So better to be on a platform where it's easier for people to collaborate, which definitely Codeberg is. So yeah, as a user, not much for you to do to benefit from this, but as a person who would be interested in contributing to GNU Geeks, there's a number of reasons why this is really good. Number one is you could submit a pull request like you would do at any other kind of quote unquote modern free or open source software project by pushing forking the repository on the Forge, making some changes to a branch on your fork, pushing your fork, and then submitting a pull request. That's way easier, and it's way easier for people to review those changes by going and leaving comments in your pull request. The whole workflow is a lot clearer to everyone involved. So I think it's a major step forward in terms of Geeks development. Also, you don't have to actually pull the repo if you don't want to. You could probably just go to an individual file and click edit directly in the UI. So if you want to update like a version number and a SHA hash on a package and just submit that, you could do that too. So you don't really even have to bother pulling the repo down. Now, obviously, it would be good if you tested that the package change that you made works before you push it, sure, but you don't have to. So I feel like this will make it a lot easier for people to submit things to the project. Now, the question is, will they be overloaded with new submissions and won't be able to catch up with them? I don't know, but maybe because it's easier to review and manage the stuff that's in flight, maybe it will be easier to have the team of reviewers to drain the queue and get things merged faster, because the current process has not been super fast. You kind of have to know who to go poke or ping to review your change to get it merged. Otherwise, it might just sit there forever. So maybe this will be a better situation. I hope so. But at any rate, I'm very happy to see this happening, because we've been saying for a while, everybody's been saying for a while, the Geeks community feedback earlier this year had said that it's difficult to contribute to Geeks, and it's kind of a blocker for some people who want to sort of invest more in the project. So that problem is going to be solved now, and I think everybody will be happier for it. At least I hope so. I'm happier. I think it's great. Regardless of the stability issues that happen with Codeberg sometimes, it's a good platform, and I've enjoyed using it a lot since I started using it a couple years ago, and I still use it primarily for system crafter stuff. Like, some things are on GitHub, but the majority of stuff is still like Codeberg primarily. Is this almost 30-second chat lag on screen on purpose? I don't think there's a chat lag, is there? Somebody say something. I'll tell you if there's lag. Hello, Trev Dev. Nice to see you. All right. Someone say something in the IRC chat, please. Nobody's going to say anything in the IRC chat. Is the whole stream lagged? Because it seems like nobody sees me saying that. I will say something. Test. Yeah, on my side, it's fast, but maybe you're not seeing it. Who knows? Auntie is obsessed with Anubis. Why? So, Trev Dev, thank you. You were the reason why I figured out why I had an issue with IPv6. I still haven't fixed my problem yet, but at least I know now that my Google Wi-Fi did not have IPv6 turned on, so my computer was not getting IPv6 addresses. Wow. Okay, so some people are getting my request in the stream very late, so maybe the stream is super lagged. Who knows why? It's a good anti-AI scrapers dog girl. What is that about? But yes, I think I know what you're talking about, though. So these anti-AI tools are pretty funny. They basically just, like, when a crawler is hitting the website, they just make a black hole where they just give them endless URLs and just spit out gibberish the whole time. Pretty funny. Trev says, but the Trev, not Trev Dev, relayed the information to David Wilson from SC.com. That's true. That's true. So both Trevs get a little applause here. Both Trevs get an applause because through the power of two Trevs, I didn't have to search the internet more to figure out what the source of my problem is. So apparently all you need, okay, listen, if you have computer problems in life, all you need is two Trevs, one to solve the problem and the other to tell you about it. And that's how all problems get solved. You know, they've written that down. I think it was in like the Kernighan and Ritchie original C programming manual. They say if you have problems with pointer dereferencing, you have to contact the two Trevs so they can debug the issue for you. And then one of them will figure it out and the other one will tell you that, hey, you know, you didn't actually initialize this pointer to null before you try to check it, and you reached into some memory that caused your whole computer to crash. It's the circle of Trev. I'm not going to sing that. After my poor British impressions. I'm not doing that again. Trev says, my nickname in high school was tech support. Mine was Bill Gates. Yeah. That was not a fun nickname. And it is because they would call me from the principal's office to help the computer problems. So when I would get called over the intercom, it wasn't because I was causing trouble. Well, maybe about, let's say, a third of the time, it could have been because I was causing trouble. But the rest of the time, it was because they were trying to get me to fix something that either someone else broke on a computer or that I broke, because I tend to try to prank people. No, Trev. No. Not because of the quote-unquote island thing. You know, back in the mid-90s, the only thing Bill Gates is known for was Microsoft and making Windows. So, yeah, come on, that's way later. Okay. Anywho, let's just roll it back. All right, so today, what I want to do, Bill Gates is not a fisherman either. I'm staying away from that one. I wanted to go through the latest Emacs news, which obviously all this news is coming from Sasha Chua, who is the person who tirelessly scours the internet, all the known places, to find the latest information about what's happening in the Emacs community, which is an incredible effort, and she's been doing it for literally forever. I think that if there were saints of the Church of Emacs, she would have to be the #1 saint, right? I'm sure we could think of others. IGC. Yes, thank you, Alternate Vet. Remind me again, because I'll forget it another 5 times. Anyway, point being, we're going to look through Emacs news and check out whatever we might have missed recently, because I've definitely missed a lot. I've been kind of checked out on certain things because I've been busy in other areas that I'm being tight-lipped about because they're completely irrelevant and not interesting at all. So, yes, I have been checked out, but I need to see what's happening in the Emacs world because I've been more focused really on Geeks and Guile and stuff recently. So we'll take a look at what's there. And if we have time to try a few packages, that would be cool. But at least to sort of learn about some new stuff, maybe see some cool blog posts people have written, that kind of thing. Let's see. Chatter says, isn't a lot of the reviewing work double-checking licenses and stuff like that? Maybe with the ease of use of Codeberg, less technical people can take care of tasks like that. Maybe it is. I don't really know if license checking is a big part of it. It depends on what it is that's being contributed. If it's like a package definition, then maybe checking licenses is one thing. But usually, if it's a non-trivial piece of software, packaging can be tricky. So they have to kind of give feedback on how things are being done. But more importantly, any new services being added, either system services or home services, the code needs to really be kind of checked on that. Hey, Fikri says, I wonder if Emacs can play Balatro now. Well, probably it could if someone wrote it. Let's see. TrevDev says, I would have been called tech support if I didn't brick Windows machines by injecting a skull and crossbones into autoexec.bat and then hiding. You did that too? I didn't do the exact same thing, but what I did was I wrote a program that when you run it, it replaces autoexec.bat to call that same program and to fake a C prompt that just taunts you every time. Every time you try to type something. Yeah, I was probably 14 years old, and I got into a little bit of trouble for that. I installed it on computers at Walmart, so they didn't know why they couldn't actually get back into Windows. So those of you who don't know, autoexec.bat is a script that gets launched whenever your computer boots back in the old, let's see, 42. Oh, thanks, Jeff. In the old days of like Windows 3.1 to Windows 95, that kind of era. So if you change that script, you can make it launch any arbitrary program, which includes launching your own program that isn't intended to harass the user, which is what I did. I wrote a program that can install itself into autoexec.bat and then call itself to harass the user. And that's why I'm here today, telling you how to do things to harass your own computer, because that's what I did whenever I was growing up. What a menace to society. Thank you, Trev. I appreciate your vote of confidence. I am a menace to society. That's true. I mean, I'm telling people to use Geeks for God's sake. That's pretty bad, I think. Anyway, let's get back to it, all right? That's why Geeks, exactly. That's why I use Geeks, because I love torturing myself and others. It's been so nice, you know? The misery that I've inflicted on everyone has been so sweet. It's so nice watching people in IRC struggle. I'm being completely sarcastic right now, okay? Just want you to know I don't mean that. Jeff says lag was 60 seconds on my side. I wonder if it's Restream causing that. Cal says from autoexec.bat to YouTube channel. That's going to be the name of my autobiography. And it's going to be extremely boring. 40 seconds on Twitch? Wow. Okay. Thanks, folks, for letting me know. I kind of feel like Restream must be failing me, which is not good because they just forced me to start paying them for the service, which I'm fine with because it's been super helpful for me for the last few years. But if it's going to be lagging that much, that's not so good. Trev Dad says, Geeks hurts so good. Yeah, I described my use of Geeks to someone today as, actually, the reason why I haven't switched from Geeks is kind of like a Stockholm Syndrome type deal, where you have become so familiar with your captor that it feels like home. I'm making it sound a little bit more dramatic than it really is, but in a way, it's kind of true, right? If you've been a long-term Geeks user, it kind of is like that. Maybe. Anyway, all right. The problem with the lag on the stream is my jokes aren't hitting so good because the response doesn't come until way later. So those of you watching at home, you're like, he's not really funny, is he? Okay. Let's look at the news. So they actually are working on Emacs 30.2. I don't know what's in there, but maybe we should take a look at the blog post on Irreal about that. Usually these new point releases are just like minor feature improvements plus bug fixes, so it'll be good to see what's in there. Eli's announcement. Anything specific in here? No, they don't say what's in there. I would have to look at the news file probably. And they don't even link to it. From a user point of view, the typical typeface I use is no longer found by Emacs. That's kind of weird. Peter says, Geeks is saving the world. Imagine the damage on the Geeksers could cause if they were not busy on their config. Well, you know. The man has a point. Basically, between the combination of Emacs and Geeks, you know, they've created like the perfect honeypot to attract all of the slightly not so normal minds who like to be tweaking computer configurations and program configurations all day long just to build the perfect little sandcastle that will inevitably be washed away by not time, but just the waves of boredom coming in and out to clear things out to start over, right? Trev Dev says, it's true. I know just enough to be dangerous in any other project. All right. Anyway, it's a nerd tar pit, says Peter. Yeah, that is kind of like it. It definitely is for me. It's just interesting enough that I would not rather use something simpler. Russell is quoting me saying, slightly not so normal minds. Well, isn't that right? You know, like I think we're all a little bit kind of off of center. Or maybe on the spectrum, as you would say. I have not been diagnosed, but to be interested in the weirdness that is Geeks, I think that maybe you have to be a little bit weird. Waves of Geeks pull and Geeks system reconfigure. More like waves of wanting to rewrite your configuration. Like Case, who is not here right now, who's probably rewritten his init.yl like 100 times. Maybe it's 7 or 8, but still, you know what I mean. Okay. So there's that. Can we link to the news file? Nobody linked to the news file. So Emacs Savannah. I really don't know if I want to bother doing this, but let's just try it anyway. Here we go, this one. So source repository. Bad gateway. Is it because I'm going to the get endpoint and not the browsing? You can browse the Git repository of this group with your web browser. Click 502 bad gateway. Good Lord. Okay. Never mind. Wait, I just saw a mirror. Let's go to this mirror. Sailfish OS mirror of Emacs. How updated is it? Okay, it's updated enough. Do we have the Emacs 30 branch. News. Etc. / news. Good Lord, I can't scream. Let's scroll. News. 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 There you are, right there. All right. 30.2. They haven't filled them in yet. Never mind. No news. No news is good news. I don't remember which movie that's from. Maybe you do. Probably Robin Hood Men in Tights. Nick says, have you considered an Emacs from Scratch style series about geeks? Yes, but it's hard. I'm planning things. They just haven't made progress. Alejandro says, I suppose that many geeks have been identified, not diagnosed within the spectrum. Yes, I would believe that for sure. See you, Luis. Yes. Because certain types of minds appreciate complexity and challenges and problems more than others, I think. Especially when it comes to computer stuff. What about Emacs 30 release date? Emacs 30 is out. 30.2 release date, I'm not sure. But Emacs 30 is out for sure. Chatter says, change logs, the secret hardest part of releasing versions. It is. It really is. I mean, I've been in projects where people try to be a bit more fastidious about like keeping change log notes either in commit form or in like, markdown files and stuff, and it helps, but still. That's like everybody's least favorite part of releasing is writing the change logs. Because then you got to go back and remember everything you did to write about it. All right, disable key bindings, Emacs repeat commands. Who's this? Emacs elements? Probably. Did he rename his channel again? He had his own name on the channel for a while. Now he renamed it. Looks like it. So he's back to Emacs elements again. This guy has deleted his channel like 3 times, hasn't he? What's going on with that? Why has he deleted this channel so many times and start over again? Nice guy, makes good videos, but that's kind of weird. Solving Emacs garbage collection stutters. Don't know if I've actually had a problem with that. The more packages you load, the more it starts to chug. Garbage collection, the solution. Oh, okay. The thing that pretty much everybody does. Okay, here we go. IGC branch. Here you go, alternate ved. Some users on Reddit informed me that there is a branch of Emacs in development which greatly improves the garbage collector efficiency. People are saying that it has completely eliminated their stutters. That would be cool. If Dolce says, he seems like an interesting fellow. Love his vids. Yeah, he's definitely interesting. Like, sort of his background and the fact that he's an Emacs enthusiast is pretty interesting. So, this is a branch of Emacs that implements a new garbage collector that is based on Ravenbrook's memory pool system library. I've never heard of that before. The new GC is incremental and generational, which often is faster or more efficient because of the way that it sort of decides whether objects are more or less likely to need to be cleaned up. And also the fact that it's incremental means that there's no like stop the world collection where it pauses execution of the runtime to do all the cleanup and then continue, which is why you see stutters. An incremental garbage collector can kind of progressively free things as execution of the program continues, so it leads to a lot smoother of an experience. So that's good, if that's what's happening right now. Fade says Ravenbrook is a big common Lisp house. Oh boy, we're gonna have more common Lisp junk in Emacs now. Who wants that? Who really wants that? We need Guile Emacs. I'm kidding, okay? It's all fine. Has AlternateVed tried it? Do we know if it's better or not? It's in C. Well, that's great. I'm glad that it's in C. All the best code is written in C. Also, all the most dangerous code is written in C. But, who wants to live completely safely? Safety is boring. I would love to have my program crash and then me have to go try to figure out why it crashed. Why would I be using something like Geeks if I didn't want to have to deal with problems half the time, right? Dolce says, I love Common Lisp. Sorry, I don't hate Common Lisp. I just like joking about it on the channel because it ruffles some feathers. Nicolas says, I read the G as generational. It does say that, doesn't it? Incremental and generational. Yes. Alternate Vet says, I didn't notice any stutters. Well, maybe you haven't left Emacs open for 3 years first. I don't know how they're going to test this change. Oswald says, no one tell him about assembly. Oh, I don't know. Like, I would write assembly. Debugging party. See, Alejandro is the one that knows. I think Alejandro is the only one. Maybe he's the only one that was vocal about loving the debugging parties. Because back in the day when we were using Mesh and things were going wrong all the time, basically the whole streams that we were doing were just debugging parties. That was fun, though. I liked it, too. Who's not ready, Osloy? I'm ready. I just don't really want to have to write it right now. Okay, anyway. So if you want to try this branch out, you can pull it down and follow the instructions in the readme-igc file. Yes, it's incremental and generational. Gunn says, real programs dump core. That sounds like a slogan for a shirt. That's for sure. And probably it was back in 1995. Zyman says, what is a stutter? It's when you're using a program and all of a sudden it seems to hang for like half a second to a second and then continues. So it gets this jerky feeling to it. Like maybe you try to open the mini buffer and then you can't press a key to type and then eventually it lets it free. It's because Emacs has stopped at that moment to free a bunch of memory because it's trying to allocate more memory. So usually what happens with the garbage collector is that it doesn't just go decide whenever it wants to free memory. It actually waits until you try to allocate something and then realizes, oh, I don't have enough memory, or I've hit the limit of my current heap size, and then it tries to free up memory before it allows you to allocate the new memory. So usually it's some action you take in the program or something running in the background that causes a memory allocation, which invokes the garbage collector. And depending on the design of the garbage collector, it will either pause the operation of the whole program or kind of incrementally free the memory over time. So that's sort of what's going on there. So that's IGC. I think it's a cool thing. And thanks to Alternate Vet for mentioning it to me 5 times before that I saw it in a blog post and then brought it up, because I probably would have missed it. Divya says, try debugging a dynamic module for Emacs and C. The sweet pain of debugging both C and Emacs at the same time will amaze you. Thank you, Divya. I'm actually very interested in trying that out because I love some pain. You know, pain is good for you. It makes you stronger. And it also makes your hair fall out. And it makes you look older and tired. But at the end of the day, I feel like you accomplished something. So even if it's just trying to debug a native module in Emacs that's faulty, when you're supposed to be working in your real job, you feel like you accomplished something and you can pat yourself on the back knowing that you're really good at taking care of your responsibilities in life. Nicolas says, I see. I wonder how this compares to Whippet. I would love to see what Whippet would do in this case. But I think that Whippet isn't fully complete yet because I keep seeing Andy Wingo talking on Fediverse about like stuff he's doing with the garbage collector. So who knows? But I know it has made progress. Alejandro says, so is it multi-threaded, at least a GC thing? I don't think it would need to be because Emacs is single-threaded. However, I don't know about background processes inside of native modules. So if a native module can create a thread and do stuff in the background, then how does it affect GC? Who knows? It's a good question, though. TrevDev says, on pain and hair loss, fun fact, both Trevs are bald. Yes, because of all the service you provide to humanity through your problem solving and problem communication skills, you had to lose your hair. It's just a sacrifice that needs to be made to be useful to the planet. Sad fact, but true. Yes, well, I'm also sort of on the path of that as well. So what can I say? Why do you think I've been wearing a hat this whole time? You don't want to see that. I go back and look at System Crafter's videos from a couple years ago. I'm like, damn, that guy needs a hat. Anyway. All right. Transient.el, a bunch of practical examples. Wow, that's an hour-long video with transient.el examples. Who made that? iLemming. Okay. What's his name? It's gonna come to me. Og Ibramov. I don't know. I know I'm not pronouncing his name correctly, but anywho, that is a long video with examples of transient. But that's kind of been a problem for a while. Knowing how to use transient effectively. If you don't know what transient is, if you've ever used Magit, that little panel that pops up at the bottom with like all the options that you can press for different commands. Jeff says, wearing a hat to promote merch? Duh, no. It's just to hide my shame. So anyway, transient is that little menu thing that pops up at the bottom, and any package in Emacs can use transient to make its own little pop-up pane with options at the bottom. But the thing is, it's not super easy to figure out how to use it because the documentation hasn't given a whole lot of practical use examples. Now, there is a wiki on the transient repo that does give examples, but even that can be a little bit mystifying at times. So it seems that there's a video now that would show you how to do that as well. So that's cool if you want to learn more about how to use transient. That's great. What else? Rapport Emacs, another literate configuration. An amiable and literate companion. An Emacs project in the Rapport initiative. Don't know what that means. Okay, so that's another Emacs config if anybody wants to check that out. A lot of stuff in here. Acculturations, eminences, coherence, charms, jests, and glamours. That's the one thing that you can really appreciate about the Emacs community. People get so excited about writing an Emacs configuration that they kind of like make it so grandiose that anyone else from the outside who looks at it is like, what the F are these people talking about? What are they smoking? That's you, Niklaus? So listen, Niklaus, I think the naming of everything that you put in here is excellent. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to disperse your effort at all, but I just think it's funny how people in the Emacs community get really, really excited about things in Emacs, and just kind of becomes bigger than it really is in a way. But why not? You know, Emacs is fun. It's our little church. Tattoo your bald skull with cog wheels. That sounds like a terrible idea, Gun. And it's not a good way to sell tattoos either. Dolce says, each const cell equals 1 hair loss. See ya, Alejandro. Yes, that's true. So anyway, check out, if I go back to the top, the Rapport project. Let's see what the Rapport project is here, now that we know that Niklaus has put that together. As part of an attempt to position Emacs as a life aid. Well, it certainly is a... Dolce says, we're romanticizing life/computing keeps me motivated. I think it does for all of us. I mean, why do you think I made this YouTube channel? Why do you think I created branding to make it sound cool so that nerds like me will come watch it? Get out of my face. Why do I have to log into GitLab? All right, never mind. I'm sorry. Evil keypad, modal command dispatch that speaks Emacs native key bindings. Okay. Another casual update. Supreme S expression system. I think that we've seen this before. It's like a Geeks config that has a bunch of other Lisp programs hooked up through it. So Geeks, Hyperland, Firefox, Fish, a bunch of programs you would want to use, but I'm guessing it's all like home services and stuff. Nicholas says, Emacs has been a big positive force in my life in a way that's hard to explain. That said, it is a work in progress, and the public repo is behind by some important updates. Yes. It's hard to explain to other people how useful and important Emacs is whenever you kind of like start to understand what is the real value of it, because on the outside, as a new user, you just think, okay, it's a text editor. What who cares? But the way that things blend together and give you the ability to kind of construct your own solutions to problems and workflows, and also even just write code in the editor for throwaway tasks, can't really do that anywhere else. And it kind of just impresses upon you the value of being able to write code to customize and use a program rather than just, you know, like editing a configuration file or clicking buttons, let's say. So I don't know. I'm with you. I think that, you know, the extensibility of Emacs as a platform plus org mode, everything else is built in, makes it kind of head and shoulders above much everything else that's out there. Gunn says, maybe David should switch from Monster to Prot's favorite drink. Prot seems to grow his hair in record time. Well, Prot is... I think Prot is living a much more stress-free existence than many of us here. I'm not going to comment on why I think that's the case. Not because of his life, but maybe mine and others. Dave says, Emacs shows the value of being able to craft a system. Yes, thank you, Dave, for bringing it back to the branding point. So, what was I saying? Yes, the switch from Monster to Prot's favorite drink. I've had to stop drinking so much Monster. Okay, it started to become a problem. Not like I needed to go to Monsterholics Anonymous or anything, but it was just like once a day. It's a little bit too much. I had to dial it back so that I don't erode my insides. Peter says, I think Emacs is like the essence of software. Well, I think it's the essence of what good software could be for power users, but it's definitely inscrutable to a quote-unquote normal computer user who is perfectly satisfied using programs that just solve a particular task for them and do it in an interface that's more or less easy to use. Dave says they removed Monster from Death Stranding. I forgot they had Monster in Death Stranding. That's funny. Did the licensing deal end? Is that what happened? So I will no longer drink it. Yes, we're making product choices based on what has been advertised or de-advertised in Death Stranding. I still want to play that game. It looks kind of relaxing and also extremely weird from some of the screenshots I've seen. It's a Kojima game, so of course it's weird. Anyway. Hey, Purple G. So, back to the news. Speed up Emacs with features requires an auto load. That's cool. Who made this one? Emacs Elements again. Yeah, licensing deal that lapsed. That usually happens. Is the fish shell annoying because it's different? That's what DistroTube's talking about. So, look, here's the thing. We're not going to watch this video, but I want to kind of look at the number of views that he's getting, because I have a theory. All right, some of these things are getting pretty good views, but I feel like kind of Linux tech videos are getting less views these days. Have people just gotten bored of watching Linux videos? I don't know what's happening. They're not watching mine because I'm talking about stuff that most people aren't really interested in, but like they don't watch DistroTube videos on general topics, then something's going on. Trev says, speaking of Prot, who's a self-proclaimed non-programmer, Emacs may be the most accessible, hackable piece of software that anyone with motivation to learn can customize. Yeah, I agree with that completely. Because the manual is all there and it will tell you what to do if you just have the patience to try it. So let's see, customization variables, fork of REST client guarding uses of eval. It sounds like a what you call it, security thing. The Emacs reader multi-threading. What's that? Is this Dick Mal? No. Oh, it's Divya. Divya from the chat. Yes, Divya from the chat. I think this is Divya's video. I haven't seen this. Anyway, I can't hear it because I don't have the audio set up to go across, but that's cool. So this is about development streams focusing on the Emacs. Okay, there's a package that Divya's working on. All-in-one document reader for all formats in Emacs backed by a Moo PDF. Okay, cool. And Tusha Hero seems to be contributing to this as well, which is cool. Tusha Hero's in the IRC pretty frequently. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Haven't actually looked at this yet, but it does look pretty cool. So if you want an alternative to Novi and the built-in PDF reader in Emacs, maybe this is something there. Dulce says, is Dick Mao well? I know he had health problems last year and he quit using camera. I haven't heard anything about that. I don't really know what's going on in his world because I don't follow the development of his stuff. But if anybody knows in the chat, let me know. He was working on the what's the right word I'm looking for? provocatively named commercial Emacs. You don't know about that? Commercial Emacs. That's certainly a way to piss people off, is to call your project commercial Emacs as if it's going to cost money or something. It's not commercial. Jeff says it's on the SE forum using news ticker to track forum posts. Okay, cool. Anyway, so that's that. What else? Oh, there's some new themes by Prot coming through that we'll take a look at in a second. I haven't tried them yet, but they look kind of cool. The Emacs cat, Windows navigation in Emacs. I think I saw this post on Fediverse. Fade says, isn't Dick Mao the guy who says Emacs is unrecoverable and needs to be recreated? He's definitely one of the main proponents of multi-threading support for various things. And I think he also wrote the kind of the more efficient GNU syncing logic or something like that, right? Or maybe he did some multi-threading for that. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what the deal is with that, but he definitely is pushing on the issue of the performance issues in Emacs. Dave says Emacs Enterprise. Yes. Emacs Enterprise Edition, 2010. Just trying to think of how Microsoft used to name their products. It was so bad. God, I'm trying to remember the name of the product that I worked on a long time ago. System Center Virtual Machine Manager 2012 R2. Yes. I worked on this product. And it's end of life. Of course it would be. Are we talking about cats or nah? No, Beyonce. We don't talk about cats on this channel. Unless somebody brings up cats, then we will. Emacs Home and Emacs Enterprise. Yes, Emacs NT and Emacs ME. Because we need the whole family of Windows-style named products. And Emacs Vista. Purple G says, I can't log into Emacs Enterprise because I don't have an internet connection. That's right. Don't forget Emacs Professional. Yeah. Emacs Pro. The smallest of productivity gains by instantly opening DIRED files when ICE searching. Huh, what's that about? The quick power of ICE search for finding files or directories. You might have noticed a tiny speed bump in the workflow. After finding a file or directory with ICE search, you typically have to hit enter to exit the search and then enter again to open the entry. That's 2 steps or something that feels like it should be 1. So he added advice to ICE search exit. So when you're in DIRED mode and you use iSearch to locate a file and press enter, it goes into the file. That's cool. See, that's just a demonstration of how the smallest little nits in behavior of the program can be fixed by you if you are motivated or bored enough or need a reason to procrastinate enough. You can go and just add some advice to a function in one tiny little part of Emacs to do your pet little thing, which is great because that's kind of the point, right? Like if you couldn't do that, then it wouldn't be Emacs. AI crossbred with Clippy, absolute nightmare. Oh God. Dave says Emacs 360. And Trev Dev says because nothing in Microsoft is reliable 365 days in a row. Yes, especially when they forget to update their SSL certificates in Microsoft Azure. And yes, that happened. Maybe more than once. It definitely happened once. And it caused major outages worldwide. I'm not saying anything that wasn't already in the news at some point, okay? But it did happen. Nicolas says some words about Rapport Emacs. Number 1, the literate config can optionally be run installed as an executable script and loads Rapport. Uses a mix of Babel and Nix to include all the tools and config in a closure from first run to every time afterwards. So fun fact, Rapport Emacs doesn't technically require Emacs to run because it can provide its own. Okay, that's cool. So you're basically providing a full package so you don't have to install Emacs separately. That's cool. Oh man, yeah, I haven't looked at that. So Microsoft Terminal Text Editor. I really don't know what the point of this is. Why? Why? Microsoft made a terminal text editor. It's basically Nano for the Windows terminal, in a way. Or WordStar. Not really WordStar. You gotta be old to know that reference. Who knows WordStar? Written in Rust. Trev has fallen in love. We're gonna lose Trev to Edit now, I think. Edit your file name. With this, you'll be able to edit files directly in the command line without context switching. Has that ever been a problem for you in Windows? If you are a terminal user and you really know how to use a terminal, you probably are pretty okay getting into files from inside the terminal. Alternate Vet says, is it blazingly fast? Well, it damn well better be if they wrote it in Rust, because isn't that the whole thing? Edit is still in an early stage, but it has several features out of the box. Yeah, several features that nobody asked for. Sorry, I'm being a little bit snarky about this. Lightweight. Edit is a small, lightweight text editor. It's less than 250 kilobytes. Yeah, today it is. What about like 2 years from now, whenever it gets bloated with all the latest improvements to whatever? Which allows it to keep a small footprint in the Windows 11 image. So, we're worried about a terminal text editor that like 0.1% of the population of Windows users will use, taking up 250 kilobytes in the Windows 11 image, when there are things like adware bloat that take up probably gigabytes in the Windows 11 image. Give me a break, all right? Alternate Vet says, aren't you working for the place that we're talking about now? No, I am not. Didn't you hear they just fired the shit out of a bunch of people last week? There's no way that I'm working for that place. If I had started working for that place again, I'd probably be fired. Yeah, you know, like, wouldn't it have been better just to like ship NeoVim in Windows? I know I should be saying Emacs, but let's be realistic. I don't think that they would ship Emacs in Windows. Anyway, mouse mode support. Of course, you want to use a mouse in a text editor in the terminal. I mean, sure, you probably do, but like, are we clicking on menus? Are we really clicking on menus? Some people do in Emacs, I know, but still, like, I'm feeling like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Open multiple files. Why are we doing this? This is like Helix. Does that not look like Helix? Is this Helix editor? Did they just take Helix editor? Or like take heavy inspiration? It looks like a mixture between Helix and what's it called? Look, there was like a there was a program we looked at one point that was like Tmux, but it was more like this. What was it called? Anyway. The TypeScript creator is gone? That can't be right. Definitely there was a long-term developer on the TypeScript team that got let go, which sounds crazy to me. I missed what Fikri said earlier. You know, most of Linux demographics are cat boy. Are we all cat boys here? Kakune? That's not the one I'm thinking of. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right. Find and replace? Sure. Word wrap? Sure. Why build another CLI editor? Why build another editor? Why not tell people to install VS Code? What's happening? Why did they waste money telling people to write a freaking terminal text editor for Windows? What motivated us to build Edit was a need for a default CLI text editor in 64-bit versions of Windows. Who asked? Who said the one thing in the world that I'm missing from Windows, 64-bit Windows, is a terminal text editor? Who said that? Zalige, thank you, Trev. That's the right one. Who said that they were missing this? Is there like a user voice somewhere where like millions of people voted this and said, we really want Microsoft to make their own terminal-based text editor for Windows that's built in? I highly doubt it. Many of you are probably familiar with the how do I exit Vim meme. While it is relatively simple to learn a magic exit incantation, it's certainly not a coincidence that this often turns up as a stumbling block for new and old programmers. So what they're saying is, we wrote this program because people don't know how to exit Vim. Is that what they just said? there's 4 sentences. We're not talking about that. There's 4 sentences, or 4 paragraphs, let's just say. 4 paragraphs that are maybe 1 or 2 sentences each to describe the motivation for making this thing. And one of them is people don't know how to exit Vim. Interesting. Very interesting. We wanted to avoid this for a built-in default. Okay, so they didn't put Vim in as the default because if people can't learn how to exit Vim, who is going to use the terminal text editor except for somebody who already knows what Vim is? Yeah, that now we're starting to get to the bottom of this. This has to be an off-season April Fool's joke, as Trev Dev says and as Cal says, but no, it's too late. This is like an April Fool's joke gone too far. Trev says, I'm regretting bringing this up. Why? It's funny. Peter says, I think this is targeted to a different demographic. Which one, though? I really wonder, like, what is the demographic that I'm kind of missing here? Okay, so there's one demographic I can think of that might appreciate this, and that might be PowerShell users who don't really use stuff like Vim and Emacs. And okay, maybe it's more convenient to pop into an editor in the terminal while they're using PowerShell, but even that is kind of like, you're really making a micro niche of users within the Microsoft ecosystem. And if you consider the PowerShell users that are on other platforms, they're all using Emacs and Vim or other programs as well, or VS Code. So like, I really don't get it. Peter says, I know quite some sysadmins who lap this up. Have sysadmins not heard of Vim and Emacs? I don't know, man. Anyway, fine. Like, they made it. That's great. All I can really do is just kind of like express my confusion at the reasons for why they would do such a thing. Mainly for humor purposes. Like, I don't care that they did this. I just think it's funny to rant about it, but still, it's really weird. It's just really weird. Okay. So, Graph plus Emacs, sure. Psi mode. That sounds like a mode for Cal 2001. Are we sure that Cal 2001 didn't write the Psi mode? I think that probably like 25% of the communication we get from Cal 2001 in the IRC is him sighing about something. Sorry, Cal. I don't want to make it sound like you are too unhappy about things, but it is kind of true, isn't it? Peter says they've heard of it, but like to distance themselves from devs by using different tools. Okay. It just seems kind of weird to me. Do developers have cooties or something? Is that why sysadmins don't want to use the same tools? It's like, ew, developers? Don't want to be like those guys. Those guys, they watch System Crafters and stuff. Cal says 110%. Okay, thank you at least for validating that that joke was legitimate. Thank you, Cal. I appreciate you playing along. Trev says, we wish for React content. We sure got it, didn't you, boy? Oh, man. Okay. Navigate the buffers sentence by sentence and highlight the current sentence. I think we really need a Psi mode to give a moment of silence, like Purple G just suggested. But we need a Psi mode that really captures the essence of what it would mean to have a Psi mode in Emacs. What would it mean to have a Psi mode in Emacs? Like, whenever you hit like a common problem in your workflow that you like hit the wrong key binding a bunch of times, there's just like a huge Psi ASCII text that just pops up on the screen because Emacs is just sighing along with you because it knows that you're smacking your forehead at doing the same old thing again. It just seems like something like that would be more warranted for the name Psi mode, except for whatever this is. Yes, a giant ASCII facepalm icon. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking, right? That's what I'm thinking. It makes a lot of sense to me. So, press F to sigh. Yes, F's in the chat. F's in the chat. We're all going to be sighing here. All right. So let's see, what else? Building an org mode workflow. So this is kind of interesting. Is this an older series? I didn't know it was from 2022. So there's a series of posts by Jeff Bradbury about org mode, building an org mode workflow. If you are the type of person like me who's interested in workflows, Scion error, yes, exactly. That's definitely, okay, somebody needs to write that. If Case was here, Case would probably whip it up in about 5 minutes, but yeah, he's not here, so someone else will have to do it. Maybe Cal 2001 will have to do it and, you know, be the namesake author of the project, as we all know and expect. So, Jeff sighs. Anyway, check out this series of blog posts if you want to see some tricks about org mode workflows, because I haven't actually read it yet, but, you know, it seems to be pretty comprehensive. So, next stream, writing an IRC Sci-bot and Guile scheme. Well, I mean, it could be done. It could be done in a stream. That might be pretty fun. We should actually write Sci mode in a stream, I think. Journally. Okay, so have you heard of Journally? So I don't know if you have heard of Zenodium. That's Alvaro Ramirez, I believe his name is. He has made quite a few tools that are Emacs related, especially, he's made a lot of Emacs packages, but he's also made tools for Mac and iOS that are kind of integrated into the whole Emacs ecosystem. And Journally apparently is one of them. It's an iOS app that it makes it easy to do really like almost tweet style log entries that get added to a notes file. And I've seen Jack Beatty talk about this on one of his 15 websites, beatty.net. Let's see if it shows up there. Where's your other site, Jack? I know you got other sites. There's another one. I forgot what it's called. Link to all your sites, Jack, please. Okay, there we go. daily.beatty.net. That rhymes. I feel like he mentions it somewhere here, somewhere. Journally. Anyway. Point being, I know he uses it. I've seen him talk about it. Okay. Okay. So Richard Journally or capture template. So in addition to including user content, Journally entries typically, I can't speak anymore, typically bundle a few extra details like timestamp, location, blah, 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 whatever. But basically what this program is doing is creating an org file. Trev says, there was a post you scrolled by that said he got feedback about keeping his posts in one place as you were roasting him. I'm not roasting Jack. I like Jack. He's a cool guy. Jack has a problem that many of us have where he just can't figure out which way he wants to set up his website. So instead of just keeping redoing his same website over and over, he just has 5 different websites where he does blogs on, which honestly seems like it's probably a better approach than completely destroying your website and changing the entire link structure every time you want to try something new. So I'm kind of on board with his approach, even though it's just funny to kind of joke about it because it's the same mentality as everybody else in the community who rewrites their Emacs configuration every 3 months. Anyway, that's pretty funny. So yes, anyway, Journally is an iOS app that sneakily creates org files for you, and you can sync them to places to use them. And there's some extra code in here apparently that this can't be running in Journally. It must be in Emacs. Here we go. So Jack has a post about this. Journally, org mode back journaling for iOS. So I know that none of you are using iOS except for Summer. So maybe it doesn't matter to you. I know some of you are using iOS. I'm just joking. Peter says, so Scatterbrain is not unique to me. Oh, you know me, okay? You know me. Cal says, not unique. All right, anyway. I haven't been capturing any links, so I apologize to all of you who want to know what we've been talking about this whole time. This has been more of a rant stream, apparently. So, let's see. What else we got here in the news? RFC, should we allow search options for all link types? What's that even mean? Dolce says, is there a simple equivalent on Android? No, there isn't, but somebody should make one because it sounds like a pretty cool idea. There's definitely value of having an app that can allow you to do short note capture. There's obviously org apps on Android that will allow you to do capture, like Orgzly Revived, and other stuff. Can't remember what it. There's like Borg, is that right? There's some other ones as well. None of them have been really that good to me. Somebody needs to make a really good quality, nice looking org mode app for Android. Maybe it's there. I don't know. But everything I haven't really been so happy with. But one thing that could be cool is an app like that where it's just for jotting down quick notes and then having that org file be synced over to your computer so that it's almost like an inbox in a way where you can just have like the things you need to remember that you want to kind of get back to and like integrate into your actual real note files. You can just jot them down really quick and put them back in there. I would use that because I have a lot of that, like tasks or, excuse me, tasks or thoughts, ideas, things I need to remember, like to write down and remember to integrate into my note system. So something like that would be pretty cool. And that's kind of what Journaly is for, I think. Also for being like a blogging type thing, but I think it serves multiple purposes. Okay. I didn't look at that one, actually. Not sure exactly what this is for. Trev Dev says Orgzly plus sync thing works really well for me. I need to try Orgzly again. Every time I try to use it, I just feel like something about it is clunky and it doesn't work for the way that I use org mode, and it just kind of makes me sad a little bit. But maybe I just haven't really tried. Yeah, you're right, Trev Dev. I could just do that. I could have an inbox notebook. If I wasn't being a whiner, then that would work. Blogging with Sphinx and Denote. Let's see. If you spent any time in the Emacs community, you've likely come across Denote. Of course, you probably have because it's great. Manage the content on the site and how I've extended Sphinx to take advantage of this. What is Sphinx? Is it the Python thing? Yeah, it's like a Python documentation generator thing. I mean, sure. Sure, you could do that. I don't know why you would bother using Sphinx if you can use publishing inside of Emacs. So, Org Rome is not for me. I would love to see what this has to say. Tui says, no notes app feels the sane in mobile to me. Yeah. There have been notes apps that have come and go. I think Obsidian is probably the closest one to what you could get in org mode. So Obsidian, I would say, is pretty nice. If you want a notes app in mobile that gets you close to an Emacs/org-like experience, that would be Obsidian, but you're dealing with markdown files, and it's a completely different ecosystem. So you kind of veer off from the course of Emacs by doing that. Let's see. Where was that? Org Rome is not for me by Davi Ramos. Most of the time, the reason I link stuff is because it feels like this is how you roam. Linking in Rome does not feel human because you have to do it in the opposite direction. The opposite direction from how you normally would. It can't just make a list of things. No, no, no. That's too simple. My grandma would understand that. In Rome, the correct way is to add a file or node for every single item in that list and link from the item to its category. This person should look at Helm. And also, they should look at... they're experimenting with denote. All right. Okay, yeah, so they're figuring out that denote can be better for coming up with their own workflow using denote instead of using something like org roam. Hello to Spiro. Spiro says, considering we're checking news, can I share a package I wrote? It's pretty simple. Yes, please. Gab says you have package CL deprecated warning on Emacs. Does anybody have that? Because I haven't actually seen it. Speedos, send the link to the package. Let's see. A little trick in my literary programming. Potential security risk. Okay. Probably someone did not update their Let's Encrypt certificate. I'm just going to skip that one because, you know, who wants to get owned on a stream? Not me. What else? How to insert pairs without fancy packages in Emacs electric pair mode. Emacs elements. I mean, this guy is the king of making small videos about one thing, which is great because I can't do that. So it's good that somebody else does it. I cannot make a short video about Emacs for the life of me. Obviously, any video that I make spirals from what I want it to be 5 or 10 minutes to like 30 minutes because I just keep explaining things, explaining, and it just never stops. So it's good to have Emacs elements out there, making it easier for people to find the information they're looking for in a shorter amount of time. TrevDev says, the note is awesome. If I didn't enjoy my Rome bubblegum machine view so much, I would have switched by now. I'm kind of surprised nobody has made a similar thing as org Rome UI for denote. Why has that not happened yet? Or has it happened? I just haven't seen it. And then distracted by edit.exe. Yes. Somebody should make denote for edit.exe. I wonder if there's an extensibility model in edit.exe. If they add that, then we're all in a large amount of trouble. Hey, Judy. Big Edie says, with Emacs, it's better to have deeper understanding. Wow, I just triggered Gemini on my phone somehow. Deeper understanding than quick recipes, in my humble opinion. Yeah, you know, I agree with that, but I think that there's room for all types of content. I'm very sorry. Microsoft One denote. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I guess it could be that, right? Instead of one note, you got one denotes in edit.exe. Judy Dev says, it would be nice if denote UI wasn't written in TypeScript React. And hi, yeah, I didn't know there was one, but that's cool. There is one, but it sounds like it's built using tools that are not so easy to sort of self-host. Nicolas says, on the topic of Rome, Orgnosis by Thanos is pretty cool. I haven't actually looked at that on stream, don't think. Orgnosis. Probably a better way to pronounce that. So there's a blog post he's got about it, creating an org room replacement. I don't remember exactly what the purpose of that project is, but Thanos wrote it, so, you know, just check it out. Joe says, let's watch that Camping with Steve video on the right. Which one is it? What did we see? Camping with Steve, where is it? It must have been another tab that I had open. Anyway, apparently I had watched Camping with Steve once. Whenever I was logged into the System Crafters YouTube account. It's right. I don't see it. I'm starving and I'm sleep deprived. Right there, camper disguised as pallets. He's really kind of like, I mean, he got almost 1 million views in 19 hours. So, God, what can I say? It's good, but I think he's having to go too far now. I haven't watched his videos in probably 2 years, but he's crafting. Yeah, he crafted a pallet house in the back of his truck. Camping with Steve is nice. He's a very soft-spoken man from Canada who likes to hide in the woods next to interstates and crack open a cold one. What did he call it? Step 2. Step 1 is put up your campsite. Step 2 is open a beer, and just chill out, you know, and like pretend to be hiding from security guards and cops for the whole night. It's a wholesome channel. You know, it's a nice thing to watch if you just want to, you know, watch some guy LARP danger in urban areas. What's the fishing joke about? I love fishing. The Trev Dev has missed all of the memes created by Summer Emacs and the IRC. Only true fans know step 2, says Purple G. That's right. Because if I say step 2 to you, if you haven't watched Steve Wallace videos, then you don't know what I'm talking about. All right. An inside joke where I'm working as a fisherman day by day? Yeah. Okay, anyway. I'm probably going to have to end the stream in a minute because I'm getting to the point now where the hunger for something to eat is so overwhelming that I can't even think anymore. And it's getting hard to focus on trawling through this list of links. So we're going to hit a couple more and then we'll probably call the stream. Emacs electric pair mode. Is that not the same video? Emacs electric pair mode. And then how to insert pairs without fancy packages. Same channel. I have no idea. Let's see, what else? uv.el. Yeah, we don't want to look at that. That's too dev focused. But what is FJ? Ah, right. So I think this is a package for Geo, which is to basically be able to do pull request issues and whatnot. Is there a link? There's no link. fj.el for Geo. I can't even type it right. So yeah, we're not going to look at this right now and actually try to install it. But basically, it's like Forge, Forge for Git. Big E says, well, I've been pronouncing Forge, Joe, for a while now. Today I learned. Yes, I had to learn that too. I don't know where I learned it from, but apparently Forgeo is Esperanto for Forge. Fisherman's Life channel? Wow. Okay, I'm not going to watch that one. Catch of the day, whatever the clerk at the fishmonger throws across the counter. Yes. Alejandro says, what did I miss? Just a bunch of rambling and me ranting about the new built-in text editor in Windows. Web browsing in Emacs. Literate Doom Emacs configuration. Packages related to Magic the Gathering. All right. Let's take a look at this post by Alvaro. Large language model. Text chat is everywhere. Who is optimizing its user experience? When it comes to programming LLM tools, I've seen modes of interaction from the form of code completion, patch application, improvement suggestions, blah, 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 blah. Have not come across huge differentiators. Well, it's kind of happening now with MCP, I think. I see. He's basically talking about the improvements he made to ChatGPT's shell and how maybe they're a better interface for all this. Maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't actually used ChatGPT shell in a while. We're going to have to face the whole AI issue again pretty soon here. I almost had a stream today showing integration of GPT.el or GPTL, whatever it's called, Karthik's package, with MCP servers, but I didn't get it set up in time. The thing is, and this is unrelated to this blog post, the thing is, it's going to become more common. So probably good to at least understand what's being done with it right now, because it's not just talking to ChatGPT anymore. Large language models, even ones that are running locally, like things in Olama, whichever ones have access to use tools that are being provided by the environment they're integrated in through something like MCP, which is Model Context Protocol. It's basically like language server protocol, but for AI integrations. It can kind of take control of your editor and do stuff for you. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying this is what's happening. And more and more, we're going to end up in a world where programming is going to be more telling the AI what to do, and it does it for you, which honestly, in some cases, is kind of nice, because who likes setting up boilerplate for project structures and then trying to figure out where to add things? There are reasons why it could be useful, but AI is a touchy subject, so I'm reluctant often to talk about it more on the channel, because it's about 50-50. Some people think it's good, a lot of people think it's bad. I am trying to think of from a more practical perspective that it's happening whether you like it or not, so better to understand it than to pretend it doesn't exist. So maybe we should look at how at least we can leverage the tools provided by large language models in Emacs in a way that's effective for what people need to use. I see Delaney in the chat. Hey, Delaney, nice to see you. What happened to Datastar integration, bro? Senpai noticed me. I've been using Datastar for like the last, how many months has it been? Since I started using it, I've literally been using it on this channel on streams every week. So, love Datastar. I haven't actually gotten back to making the video about it yet because I've got 15 other things happening in life right now. But I will say that Datastar is kind of like a core part of the way I write applications in Scheme now, web application Scheme, and it's been great. I've had a couple issues here and there, but I've been able to work around them, and I think that it's pretty awesome. So kudos. Peter says, if you don't like writing boilerplate, you're gonna love all the boilerplate LLMs, right? So here's my other thought about LLMs. And maybe other people have said this before too, but it kind of occurred to me that sure, there are certain languages like Python or maybe JavaScript that LLMs can write more effectively because there's a lot of information for them online. But don't you think that at some point, someone is going to make a language and platform that is more effective for LLMs to write code for than for human beings? That's going to be an interesting little tipping point if that happens. I don't know if it will happen, but it might be something more low level, like let's say conceptually equivalent to something more like assembly, but not really. Could be WebAssembly. I don't know. Would it be better for a large language model to spit out WebAssembly directly instead of writing in a higher level language when it doesn't really need to? Because higher level languages really are only for human beings who need to think in terms of concepts and to kind of write code in certain patterns. So if you have an LLM that can just write, whatever amount of boilerplate that it wants, do you really need to have fancy highfalutin languages anymore? Do you really need to have fancy toolkits anymore? Or you just need to have something that does the job and is easy for an LLM to reason about? Purple G says, that's what I'm saying. LLMs doing things like a human seems silly. It's a gimmick. This is the thing, man. You guys start thinking a little bit ahead. Think ahead about what it means, because LLMs are getting better. They're not great. They don't write perfect code, but that doesn't really matter because people will still be involved at some level. So think about what will happen if LLMs are relied upon more and how programming might change. I'm not saying it's going to happen soon, but I'm just trying to stay nimble, let's say. I'm trying to stay a little bit nimble. Carswell Scout says, LLMs of doom, black box all the way down. Yeah, that is the real problem, is if, things start getting more oriented towards LLMs to use them effectively and humans can't do it so well anymore, then we depend on the machines to do things for us. I mean, we sort of already do that, like with the globally networked economy. If all the power goes off or the internet goes out, then all trade grinds to a halt because it's all being done through networked banks. So I don't know, right? We're sort of already trapped in the system, and it's only going to get worse. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'd rather just be fishing. Oh. And then at that same moment, I just yanked my headphones out. And the noise canceling on my headphones kicks in, and then it's like I have cotton balls stuffed in my ears. All right, time to learn machine code and assembly because it has a run at some point, I guess. Yes, true. We have to know how the underlying computers work so we can manage the computers whenever they have enslaved us, right? What line did I say? All right, I'm starving. I have to go get some food. So, what did we learn today? I don't know. Just a lot of ranting, I think. I think my hunger just made things a little bit punchy. Sorry for that. Delaney says, interested in the pain points before V1 drops we can address cause because it's done, just doing website stuff. Please reach out with your issues. Yeah, I had a couple things. I should probably let you know about them. So, anywho, I appreciate all of you for being here today, listening to me ramble. Appreciate your time and attention. Hope you all have a great weekend. If you have any thoughts on the stream, please leave a comment. But also, what was the thing I said that people needed to leave in the comments? There was something about the lore. What was that? What was that quote? What was the quote? Somebody must remember. And we have to pull up Cal's game page again to remember what that quote was. Lisp Game Jam. Am I going to find it before everyone else does? I guess with the lag on the stream, probably I will find it before everybody else does. And then they'll be yelling at me. Kaka Farm. The lore is top quality. Thank you, Alternate Ved. Yes, so you need to leave a comment on the stream saying the lore is top quality. Because that's a new meme. I'm defining the memes now, people. Okay? Delaney says, LLMs are not great, but MCP is worth a look at. Yes, the things that MCP can do will kind of change your mind a little bit, I think. Yes on YouTube, Peter. All right, folks. Like I said, thank you all for your time and attention. Hope you all have a great weekend. Until next time, happy hacking. See ya.